come across an article which, to me, again exemplifies just how pathetic modern feminism has become. Modern Western feminism, I should say. In fact, I'll just make a disclaimer here. Pretty much every video I make on this subject is referring to the Western context, but I haven't to say that every time. Although it is important that I say it, because otherwise people will assume that I'm opposed to women's rights, which I'm absolutely not. Um, but yeah, this is the article. Emma Stone and Lena Dunham are over sexist nicknames. They prefer these 11 alternatives. Not quite sure about the grammar there. Are over sexist? Whatever. Anyway, there is a few different reports to confirm this, so it isn't just like, the website I wasn't entirely sure about because I'm not familiar with it. But I've checked it out on other, actually it's Yahoo Style comes under, but it's on several other websites as well, like Elle and some other women's magazines. But this is the thing, I'll just read a little bit of the article. Um, Emma Stone and Lena Dunham are completely fed up with sexist nicknames. They, like 99% of women, inwardly rage when someone refers to them as babe, sweetheart, or honey, and choose to vent their frustrations with said nicknames on Dunham's new podcast, Women of the Hour. Um, and which, by the way, you should definitely listen to because it is receiving rave reviews. Okay. But back to the unsuitable nickname. Stone stopped by Dunham's show to reveal a name she would far rather be called. And there are some odd and very American ones in there. Pal, Kid, Bud, Bucko, Dude, Officer, Doc are acceptable nicknames based on their real names are all great. Anyone could call me that feels great, Stone said on air. That feels personal and lovely. And you don't have to say sweetheart, you could just say M. Dunham and Stone will also accept being called by their actual names, and Lady and Dragon are other pre-approved options. Yes, Dragon. Apparently one of Stone's co-workers refers to that way exclusively. Well, this is funny. There's a lot of assumptions about this article, which is clearly biased towards them. I don't know whether Emma Stone and Lena Dunham identify themselves as feminists or not. I know nothing about them, to be honest. As far as I know, they're actresses, but other than that, I know nothing about them. In fact, this is the first time I've heard of them. But nevertheless, feminists are jumping on it and sort of, supporting it, of course. Have we really got to the point where terms of endearment are now branded sexist? Have we really got to the point in society where feminist thought police have got so pedantic and so petty the terms of endearment are now sexist? This is it's sad actually. I think it's sad, and I think it's just really a pity. But it is striking because it's something that has been characteristic of modern Western feminism for a very long time. That is the incredible pedantry. This has nothing to do with equality. This has nothing to do with human rights. This has nothing to do with the once noble causes that original feminism exposed, um, ex, ex, expressed, I should say. It's just a joke, basically. Um, no, I'll play the devil's advocate for a second. Let's say some of these terms are a bit annoying. Okay. If a male partner knows that the woman doesn't like it, then okay, don't use it. But calling a woman honey or sweetheart, assuming you're her husband or you're her boyfriend, to classify that as sexist, really? I mean, this is another example of the term sexism being utterly abused by petty feminists to suit their own agenda. Sexism actually, the basic meaning is to discriminate against someone based on their gender. That is the meaning of sexism. Um, I mean, really, what? But firstly, women call men lots of names as well, and I've had middle-aged women call me honey and so on. It's not entirely something I like, but I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill because I understand there's no hostility behind it. I've had women, older women, call me those sort of things before, in shops and so on. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't particularly like it. It's not, but it's not something that I would ever dream of describing as sexist. I mean, do these spoiled rich actresses have nothing better to do? My God, it's just so pathetic. And I think anyone with common sense, male or female, can see that it is pathetic. One thing I would say is no self-respecting man should date feminist, this sort of feminist, because if you're if you have any sort of self-respect, you would not be dating someone who is so controlling, who is so pedantic, and who has such a lack of respect for you. I mean, what sort of person would actually display such hostility and make such an outrage about something that basically has very warm and amicable intentions? When a man calls his girlfriend or his wife sweetheart, it's a term of warmth, it's a term of love. I mean, are these people so pathetic that they can't see that? And even if it isn't something that they like, they could at least take it for what it is, rather than slandering it as sexist. This is pretty much the Charlotte Proudman syndrome. Thought police. And I really think feminists need to be challenged on this. The fact that the article is completely biased doesn't really surprise me, but I do think there needs to be something of a fight back against this sort of pathetic behaviour, because it's one thing them having that view, but the problem is feminist lobby groups actually lobby to have men um, harassed over this sort of stuff, and it's utterly disgraceful. I mean, at what point did the feminist movement, or the women's rights movement, I should say, become so petty? I honestly think Emmeline Pankhurst would be turning in her grave if she knew what was being done in the name of so-called feminism. It's just, I'm highlighting this case because I think it really exemplifies the way this movement has become in Western countries. I would never, ever, ever dream of dating a feminist. If I found out that a woman identified herself as a feminist, I would be extremely wary, because then I would be watching every single word I said. I couldn't say sweetheart to her, because then I would be a sexist pig. So I'm wondering, how exactly do they expect men to demonstrate their love? Dragon? My God. Let me know your thoughts. I'd like very much to hear female thoughts on this. That's another point. I think it's very arrogant to claim that they can think for 99% of women. Um, Thankfully, most women don't buy into this crap. And most women, I would imagine, in fact, I don't imagine, I know, because I've seen it myself, respect the fact that their husbands and boyfriends care for them, you know? And plenty of women use those terms as well. And again, the men take it at face value for what it is, a term of endearment. I mean, it really is striking that this movement has become so polarizing and so bitter and so pedantic, so cold, that a term of endearment is now sexist. Now, I would understand the argument if these terms are being used for complete strangers. I think that is inappropriate. But in the context of a husband or a boyfriend, that is just insane. And yes, it does irritate me, because as a man, I feel the same frustration that a lot of men feel. That is there anything we can say that is right? That's the fact, that the feminist thought police will always find a reason to be offended. These people seriously need to get a grip.